Okay, by popular demand and request, I've got a solution video here for Project 5, which is the Change Maker program. And there's a bunch of different ways to do this. This is just the way that I do it. Uh, you can use the modulus operator to grab the remainder, just a bunch of different ways. So here are the variables, and I think that was in the file I sent out or I posted in Blackboard. So you get the amount owed and the amount paid, and you change it to pennies. The change to pennies. It's just easier to work with it that way. And you've got some additional things here. Conditional things here. Insufficient funds, no change to return. Else we have change, and there's no need to do any of this outside of that last else, because if you do, and these are true, one of these are true, then this is going to try to show them change and just not needed. So I have an if, an else if, and then an else with brackets here, or curly braces. Now, I showed you how to do this, and a lot of you were getting a little confused here because you've got to reduce the amount of money every time you take a denomination out. And you can do it in a running basis, but there's just a lot of extra calculations there. You can do, remove the dollars here, then here you can remove the dollars and the quarters, here you move the dollars, quarters, and the dimes, blah, blah, blah. So, it's just up to you. If it works, it's fine. It's just, this is the way I did it. So I have a variable called remain. That's the amount of remaining pennies. Change is in pennies right here. And I just took it out, stuck it in remain. And then from that point forward, I'm using remain everywhere else. And you divide by the 25 pennies in a quarter, 10 in a dime, and so forth. And then whatever's left basically is in pennies. And there's my output. And I set the change to, and now the reason I did it this way, I used remain, is because I didn't want to change the variable change or the change that they owed. I didn't want to reduce that because I'm having to show it here. All right, that's the only reason I did it that way. There are other ways to do it. It's just easier to do it that way for me. So I set precision to 2 because it's dollars and cents. I'm going to output that, convert it back to dollars and cents here. I set this to 0 because I have a couple of doubles in here, and there's no need to have, 2.0 pennies. It's just 2 pennies. So, all right, well, let's save it, and let's run it. And I'll use the same basic owed change numbers that I use when I checked yours. Okay, so the amount owed is 303.17. Excuse me, 71. Amount paid was 310. The change is 629. That's $6. 1 quarter at 625, and 4 is 629. So not a big deal, but now one other thing I want to mention to everybody is I don't know what's going on. I have several students I'm getting projects without a debug exe in them, which tells me that you probably built the project wrong and it's splitting up your project into different locations. Some of it are probably under users, Microsoft, Visual Studio, and then it puts some of it on your folder that you built it in. That's not what you want to do. I want to see 3 things when I open up a project from you. I want to see 1, the solution file so that I can open it up and run it myself. 2, I want to see a debug.exe so that I can run the exe and see if what you saw on your last good build. If I don't see that, I know you haven't run the debugger or you've got the project built wrong. And I forgot what the third thing was. Anyway, make sure you're building the project right, and there you go. Not much to it. See you in chapter 6.